Hello, hello. I'm back again to talk about this upcoming new moon that will be happening in Pisces. There's a lot been going on. Some people call it war, and other peoples are calling it something just a necessary thing. Wow. There's just a lot going on, and it seems like this is what this is what we've been looking at. This is what the planets have been talking about happening. Um, we are just going through another evolutionary step right now. I'm trying to remember that as we are in a state of what seems like war and what will continue to feel like war. Um, we just have to remember to take it one step at a time. Yeah, it's hard to say, what might actually console right now in these times, because it is a lot crazy out there. Um, I think, um, and to remember that a lot of people just they don't understand the evolutionary aspect to what we're all going through. And not to say that it's a good thing, or it's not. It's not. But people have been talking about when Neptune goes into Aries, that it would be like the time before when we were in Civil War. And looking into some of the historical facts, documentations about the Civil War times, it's interesting because it's not as straightforward as what we have been taught in school, so nice and neatly and packaged. And that's what we're living through right now. It's not a nice, neatly packaged deal right now. We're not going through something that's easily explained. It's very Neptunian, actually. Um, Very Neptunian. And that is the ruler of the new moon that we are about to go through on the 18th of March, which is will be on a Wednesday, Pacific, of course, because that is where I am. We can get the chart going so we can see here. Right. Still getting over an illness. Excuse me. Hmm. It was kind of bad again. The family keeps passing it around, and I'm sure other people are experiencing that right now. 'Cause it's just that time of year, and um, yeah, that's just what we can all expect. Um, the interesting thing about noticing that um, we're all kind of um, going through illness and sickness, is that Jupiter just went direct and it is sitting there, sitting still, and in a trine with Mars in Pisces. And Mars and Pisces might be feeling kind of sluggish, and so is Jupiter right now because Jupiter just went direct and it's just sitting there, not moving. And in the sign of Cancer, which is family. And so that's why I mentioned family. And we all have been sort of passing around this illness because it just seems like that's one of the expressions of Jupiter in Cancer, just stationed and just sitting there. As a collective experience, we might be just going through that. And, um, the purpose of Cancer is the sign of Cancer is to protect. Um, and so, the interesting thing is about a family passing around a virus is that we're really ramping up immunities, actually. You're cycling through the virus in a way to where your immune system is um strengthening actually. But it's like a recoiling effect where you have to get enough rest and you have to get enough vitamins in you, and it's an awareness of that. And all of this stuff, all of this that I'm talking about might seem unrelated, but it is very related because there is an awareness that is awakening because there are a couple of very important sextiles that are happening to the new moon. And so, and that's why I wanted to start off by talking about awareness of our bodies and what our bodies are being evolved into. Because in this new moon in Pisces at 28 degrees, and so we've had several new moons at 28 degrees over and over again, every month so far since this year has started. And it is saying something every time. And in the sign of Pisces, we're talking about uh, your mental health, but it that also includes a physical health because your mental health will never reflect any kind of positive state if your physical health is not in a positive state. It's just one and the same ultimately. And we have been going through this um, because the um, that full moon in the axis of Pisces and Virgo was really calling attention to our physical health also. But so is this new moon because this new moon is almost like finishing up what that full moon was about. That's what's speaking to me about this chart. So, one of the first things that I notice in this chart is that Mercury that is in a retrograde, which this Mercury retrograde has been fun, hasn't it? All of that sort of mental self-doubt, um, just kind of sneaking in. Hasn't that been fun? Kind of just wondering in your mind if things will ever get better. All of that is really Mercury retrograde, trying to get you to become more aware of something through coming through these worries that are coming up. And so when your mind starts spinning and you start going backwards in time, and you're thinking about the past and in this state of, you know, what went wrong and all of the stories that support that right now in your mind. It might be a lot to deal with. And this new moon in Pisces, you know, the mental health that I was talking about is being exacerbated by Mercury being retrograde in the same sign of Pisces. And conjunct that North Node, it's going to take a conscious effort to evolve through these mental hiccups and states. It's going to take getting yourself a little bit outside of your comfort zone. And in many ways, it's really rewarding to put yourself outside of your comfort zone. And this new moon is asking you to maybe think about where you can evolve, um, maybe specifically spiritually, by putting yourself outside of your comfort zone. Um, and who knows what that means specifically for you, but sometimes, when I think about putting myself outside of my comfort zone and evolving, it means thinking about the things and issues that come up in my head and sort of taking a second look at some of my opinions that start just surfacing. Just automatic, those automatic things. Um, because taking a conscious look at your automatic, because the the automatic part, what I mean is the things that just operate without you even thinking about them. And sometimes we have opinions that surface and just honestly thoughts that happen without actually much thought, much conscious thought. There's a higher level of consciousness to thoughts that, we have all experienced this, becoming more aware of something that's just spinning around and around in our head. And the opportunity to become more aware of this. These are the opportunities that the sextiles to the new moon are presenting. And um, so, on one hand, we have Mercury retrograde, conjunct the North Node that is calling us to be more conscious and aware. And at the same time, we have two sextiles off of the new moon that are about spontaneous happenings, which is Uranus up here in Taurus, which is going forward now, and we'll be going into Gemini soon at some point. Um, and so the sextile that the new moon is making to Uranus is speaking about something happening spontaneously, unexpectedly. And so an unexpected style or type of awareness, that aha moment just coming in with something to just stay open to. It's not like you can force an aha moment. You really can't. And so just to be aware and conscious of it coming in, open, being open and in a receiving state. One thing that I should mention about the archetype of Pisces is that it is about surrender. And so surrendering to receptivity, so that a spontaneous spark of sudden event will come in. And staying receptive is the positive way to deal with this sudden something because it'll be unexpected. It's not like I can tell you what it will be. And on the world stage, there is an indication that that sextile to the new moon from Uranus, in Taurus is possibly saying something about uh, money, monetary, um, something unexpected with our monetary system or like the world's monetary system. Um, because a new moon in Pisces is more about um like the behind everything, behind the curtain, but also um, in a mundane way, Pisces and Neptune are about um, big ships on the ocean. So we've got the Navy and about oil also, and oil, water, fluid things that are about like the big picture and all of the stuff that's happening on the world stage is very much in line with this new moon. And taking a look at what is happening with the oil industry because of war activities, because Neptune is in Aries. Neptune is the ruler of this new moon. So we're going to be looking at what is happening in a warlike environment. And what is war? It's not necessarily always just senseless violence because that is considered a crime to the world, right? Just senseless violence. And so what we're looking at is um, something that is more sanctioned, um, which is hard to say to regular people who don't want war to be happening. It's totally understandable. I'm not advocating for war. All I'm saying is that this chart is saying that this is what's been coming. The charts that I've been looking at and been talking about. Um, and the evolutionary movement is really what we should be um, truly considering here because I am an evolutionary astrologer, and so that's what I'm here to illuminate. So the other sextile that is happening off of this new moon is to Juno in Capricorn, which is kind of in a conjunction with Pluto. She'll get there sooner, but um, she'll be there soon. But for now, she's in a sextile to this new moon, and Juno is about uh, on, sort of surface level. She's about contracts, and on a deeper level, she's about the keeping of promises. It's the promises that need to be kept. And there's an opportunity for a promise to be kept, an opportunity for a contract to be upheld, an opportunity for a promise to be made, an awareness of a promise that needs to be made. So this is a more interesting aspect. Um, Juno is considered an asteroid, but she is the queen to Jupiter. So I do like to consider her, um, because when she is in play, there is jealousy, spite, revenge, but it's all about these promises. And if we're looking at promises that were broken, then um, we're looking at a lot of, uh, you know, revenge and like violence, because chaos and violence was always the um, end result of her scheming and planning against Jupiter, also known as Zeus, um, trying to get back at him. And all of the characters for this kind of thing are in play. Jupiter's making a trine to um to Mars and to Pallas Athena. And so Jupiter is playing a part in this war between um in the sky and the gods, with the gods, because that is one of the things that we're looking at when we humans are going to war. We are expressing a part and pieces of the gods being at war with each other. That's what those stories are all about. So yeah, there is an opportunity with Juno and a sextile to this new moon, which I believe is a good thing, an opportunity for awareness of promises that are needing to be made, because we can see on the world stage that things fall to pieces and fall apart when promises are not upheld. Chaos ensues. And that is the story that is attached to Juno. So that's one of the reasons why I like to mention Juno when she's in play. And I have a video about Juno also that you can go back and watch, um, if you want to know more about her. Um, One of the other things about this chart, um, because I've talked a lot about Neptune being in Aries, because this is a big event, and this is the ruler of this new moon, Neptune and Aries, and ultimately this is why we're seeing uh, not just war, but um, lots of rumors, illusions, deception. Um, we're being inundated with images that are created by AI. And it's hard to know what's real. And I had said before with that, the full moon lunar eclipse, that our perception of reality was going to be really challenged. So it just becomes more so. This is going to be like that. We're going to have to train our eyes to be in tune with our gut, because our gut is going to tell us what's real. Yes. And that is part of what keeps your mental health stable, also, is your gut health. Like, truly, this is a scientific fact. So I'm just adding that in there because getting your gut in tune is really something to start training for. It's something you probably should have already been doing. But if you aren't, if you haven't, then now is better than never. Um, yeah, because there is going to be a lot of untruth out there, and you're just going to have to know the difference, because your emotional state is going to depend on that. Um, your mental state is going to depend on you trying, like, learning how to discern what is real from not real. And there are multiple levels of that. And this new moon is truly an opportunity to start digging into that. Like, how can I discern what is real? Um, because what we have been programmed as to understanding reality is not necessarily the truth. So, um, let's see what else. And remember that Mercury will be going direct in a couple days after the new moon. So that will be a nice relief. And Mercury won't be moving from this 8 degrees. It'll be staying there with that North Node. And that's why we really want to consider these, Mercury with the North Node in Pisces during this new moon, because the lunar nodes are being aspected by this Mercury that is just gonna stay here. And also just reflecting that our mental state is in a bit of a period of stasis, um, leaning into that stillness and the quietness, um, really will benefit your mental health, because there is so much going on out there. There's so much chaos that, in order to really protect your health and your family's health, and for you and the people that you care about, so that doing the best. You are the best person that you can be for the people that you care about. Um, it will be a really good idea to lean into the stillness of your mind. And that might be very uncomfortable for some people. And that's why I mentioned that the North Node asking us to get outside of our comfort zone. Meditation might be very uncomfortable for you. Letting your mind be still, letting everything be quiet around you without filling the empty space with TV or your phone, YouTube, any of that. Just letting the room be quiet. Let your ears ring. What quality does it sound like when you can actually just hear that tone? Some people are afraid of it, and that's why I say that this is going to make some people uncomfortable. But it's really, that's what you need because it will keep presenting itself to you. The stillness, the quietness, from here on out, through the new moon, um, and for a few days after the new moon until the moon reaches Aries on the Friday after. So there will be a period of time where quietness will be presented to you, even though there's a lot of chaos. And to settle into that and surrender to it is really the remedy for all that chaos out there. And the new moon, is dark. It doesn't have any kind of light coming off of it. And so, really, that is another reason to get quiet and be still and um, be okay with the darkness and the silence that is presenting itself. Because there is um, a different kind of illumination that is in that darkness and silence. But you can only find it if you can surrender to, you know, stripping away all of the noise. And I think the last thing that I really wanted to mention about this chart is that we still have the Black Moon Lilith aspect position in a T square with the lunar nodes. And this is just going to keep hitting because she's going to be there for a little bit. And she's been there. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is um, that some of the things and the stories that are going to be coming up in your head are going to put you back into a state of feeling like you want to hold on to a grudge. That's where this T square with the nodes, this is the tension that's being held with Black Moon Lilith. She is uh, not in a good place in this T square. She is probably going to be acting out, and um, it's not a good place to be holding on to your thoughts that are creating so much tension and yeah, the um the grudge thing though, because this is another aspect to surrender is that you can't keep a grudge if your intention is to surrender. These two things don't go together. And so you're going to have to choose. And if you choose the grudge over surrendering, then you are choosing to walk in the darkness and to turn your back on the very special illumination that is in that space of surrender because there are different kinds of darknesses. There is the darkness that is essentially nothingness and it is pure state. And there is the kind of darkness that we refer to that is more like an evil state. Just to put it simply. So the potential to hold on to something evil, because that's what a grudge is there. It's there. It's going to be hard to resist. And it persists. This feeling will persist because of Black Moon Lilith in the T square with the nodes. And, um, you know, Mercury conjunct that North Node is really uh, some mental wiggle room for using your mind to get out of the darkness of that evil space of holding on to a grudge. Because Mercury going retrograde is going to bring up stories, like I said. The stories are there. The old patterns are definitely showing up right now. And because in Pisces is also considered like the womb space, like the cosmic womb. And this is where we bring all of our patterns and old karma back into this new life that we're born into. And it's one of the reasons why we're we're tasked with surrendering over and over again in our current life. It's because the karma that we brought with us. And so these are those old stories that are coming up, and um, it's it will be a very good, it takes a certain type of creativity actually to take an old story that comes up and try to figure out what is it that you've been missing this whole time. Every time this story comes up and the pattern repeats itself, um, what new thing could you get out of that? The new moon is asking you to consider that. What kind of new awareness can come out of this old story, this old pattern that keeps surfacing? What new promise can you make yourself with Juno in this aspect in the sextile to the new moon? That could be also about you um realizing you broke promises to yourself. You need to make some new promises to yourself. Um and these are really just intentions. So, yeah, I think that as spring starts to approach, and ultimately when this new moon happens, the astronomical spring is right around the corner. It's just a couple days away. That'll be on Friday after. And um, things are gonna feel lighter. I think that some of this heaviness and some of the you know, unsure doubt, it will be lifted a bit. And that's just the nature of everything moving into Aries, is that the doubt, the fog will feel like it's lifted a bit. Neptune is still in Aries though, so it's a whole new way of feeling Aries. Um, and so again, getting in tune with your gut, which really is, um, you know, the physical aspect to becoming spiritually in tune also. So yeah, I think that there's a lot for now. Yeah. And the next time, next full moon will be April 1st, which is April Fool's Day only because the pagans used to consider it the new year. So I think that is good for now for this new moon. And I can stop sharing here. All right. Well, thank you for joining me again. And I never say this, but if you like my video, it'd be nice if you liked it. And if you like this stuff that I'm talking about, it'd be cool if you subscribed. And I really appreciate you joining me. And I'll see you next time. All right.